This girl, after allegedly shooting both of her parents dead, posted on TikTok like nothing happened. Dancing, laughing, making content about grieving, all while her 6-year-old sister lived with the nightmare of finding their bodies. For 5 whole months, she fooled everyone. But that's not even the most twisted part of this story. This case has everything: family secrets, social media manipulation, and a twist that'll make your jaw drop. I'm not even kidding when I say this is one of the most disturbing cases I've ever covered. So buckle up, because we're diving deep into the Sarah Grace Patrick case. Alright, let me set the scene for you. We're talking about Carroll County, Georgia. You know, typical suburban America. Soccer moms, backyard barbecues, the whole 9 yards. The Brock family seem to have it all figured out. You've got Kristin Brock, 41 years old, and her husband James, who was 45. They had this blended family situation going on. Kristin had Sarah Grace from a previous relationship, and together they had a little 6-year-old daughter. From the outside looking in, everything looked pretty normal. But here's the thing about families, guys. You never really know what's going on behind closed doors. Sarah Grace was your typical moody teenager. I mean, we've all been there, right? 17 years old, thinking the world's out to get you, butting heads with your parents over every little thing. But nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted what was about to go down in that house. Because what happened next isn't your typical family drama. This is the kind of stuff that makes you question everything you thought you knew about human nature. February 15th, 2025. Just a regular Tuesday morning in suburban Georgia. The sun's coming up, maybe the coffee's brewing, and then everything changes in an instant. According to investigators, Sarah Grace Patrick shot and killed both her mother Kristin and her stepfather James. We're talking about a 17-year-old girl who allegedly took a gun and ended the lives of the 2 people who raised her. Let that sink in for a second. But here's where this story gets absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm warning you right now, this part is going to hit you right in the gut. The couple's 6-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace's little sister, was the one who found them. Can you even imagine? This innocent little girl, probably looking for her mum and dad, maybe wanting breakfast or a hug, and instead she walks into this nightmare. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't even begin to process what that must have been like for this kid. She's going to carry that image with her for the rest of her life. It's the kind of trauma that changes you forever. And here's the part that's going to blow your mind. After allegedly shooting her parents, Sarah Grace is the one who called 911. She reported the murders herself. Think about that for a hot minute. If she really did this, she's calling to report her own crime. The audacity is just, it's unreal. So, the cops roll up to this scene, right? They've got 2 bodies, a traumatized 6-year-old, and Sarah Grace, who's made this 911 call. Now, any detective worth their salt is going to look at the family first. It's not rocket science. That's where these cases usually lead. But here's where things get really weird. The murders happened on February 15th, but Sarah Grace wasn't arrested until July 8th. That's almost 5 freaking months later. What the hell took so long? During those 5 months, this girl was just living her life like nothing happened. She was out there posting on social media, going to school, hanging out with friends. Meanwhile, her little sister is dealing with the trauma of finding her parents' bodies, and Sarah Grace is just carrying on. The cops were obviously building their case during this time. They had to gather evidence, interview witnesses, wait for forensic results. In a case like this, you don't just slap handcuffs on someone because you have a hunch. You need rock-solid evidence that's going to stick in court. Now, this is where the case goes from disturbing to absolutely mind-blowing. You're ready for this? Sarah Grace was allegedly reaching out to true crime TikTokers, asking them to research and report on her parents' murder case. I'm not making this up. She wanted content creators to cover the story of her own family's deaths. Let me repeat that because it's so insane. If the allegations are true, she murdered her parents, then reached out to influencers to make videos about it. That's either the most psychotic thing I've ever heard, or there's some next-level manipulation going on here. One content creator who got this request has since gone public with it, and honestly, it's created a whole new layer of crazy to this case. Was Sarah Grace trying to control the narrative? Was she getting some sick thrill from watching people talk about what she did? Or was she just trying to keep tabs on the investigation? The whole thing gives me chills because it shows a level of calculation that's just, it's not normal. Normal people don't murder their parents and then try to turn it into content. Fast forward to July 8th, 2025. After almost 5 months of investigation, the cops finally had enough evidence to move forward. Sarah Grace Patrick gets word that there are arrest warrants out for her, and you know what she does? She turns herself in. She didn't run, she didn't hide, she walked right into the Carroll County Jail like it was no big deal. I mean, you've got to have some serious nerve to do that, right? Either she's completely confident in her innocence or she's just that cold. She's been charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. And here's the kicker, even though she's only 17, they're charging her as an adult. That tells you everything you need to know about how serious this case is. The prosecutors aren't messing around here, they're going for the jugular, and they obviously believe they have a case that's going to stick. So here we are, folks. We've got a 17-year-old girl sitting in jail charged with murdering her own parents. We've got a 6-year-old who's lost everything, her parents, her sister, her sense of safety, and we've got a community in Georgia trying to figure out how the hell something like this could happen. The truth is, cases like this mess with your head because they don't make sense. How does a teenager go from typical family drama to double murder? What kind of rage or mental break leads to something like this? And that poor little girl, she's going to need therapy for the rest of her life. She's lost her parents and her sister in one horrific day, and she's the one who had to see it all. It's heartbreaking. As this case moves through the courts, we're going to be watching every development. Sarah Grace Patrick's defense team has their work cut out for them, and the prosecution is going to have to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But guys, let's be real here. If she really did this, if she really shot her parents in cold blood and then tried to manipulate the narrative on social media, that's not just murder, that's pure evil. That's all for today's episode. If this case messed with your head as much as it did mine, hit that like button and subscribe for more true crime content. And remember, if you or someone you know is struggling with family issues or mental health, please get help. There are resources out there and no problem is worth destroying lives over. Until next time, stay safe out there and I'll see you in the next video.